It's one of those things that,
We'll be professional the next time we stream.
that's,
We're good.
5 and 7 minutes. Well,
Published.
Published. Okay, now. Are you done?
stay on. It's easier to stay on.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know. You didn't feel like I'm I will say it got very, our very
Are we live? We're live. Is it live? All right, cool. All right, place to stand, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you see him there? There's a delay.
Perfect. All right. Hey, hi everybody. We'll get rolling here. I know Scott's got a little bit to talk about. Thanks for coming. Again, it's the second month. We're kind of getting back into these in-person meetings, and attendance today is much better than it was last month. So that's a positive trend. Hopefully keep in that direction, and hopefully we'll find some interesting things to talk about each month for you. This month we do have a very interesting topic. The City of North St. Paul has received some funding that looking to redistribute back to the businesses, help some of these businesses that have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Robert Dew, the president of the Economic Development Authority, was going to come here and speak to us about that because the EDA is kind of the driving factor behind administering these funds. However, Robert had a scheduled conflict, could not come today. So Mr. Dudek, he's armed with all the info as well. He's going to give us some info about it. And that's really what we had for the agenda today. So I guess we'll just...
And maybe, Brett, if I could, have Councilmember Thorson, who's done a lot of work behind the scenes, I'll let him start out with it.
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
I'll just turn it over to you two. You guys have all the info.
And we're getting recorded here. So.
And yeah, you can kind of see yourself there
in the TV.
Right.
Yeah, so
You're
back
famous.
in July, the city got some CARES funding from the state, who got it from the federal government. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it was determined off of a formula based off your population. I believe it was $75 per resident. So our share was $916,000. So, you know, it's kind of like everything that's been going on. There's little direction. It just comes quick, and everyone has all sorts of questions on, well, what can we use this money for? What paperwork forms do we have to fill out? And so there's just a lot of unknowns. But it's taken us up to this point now where we've got this plan with help from Scott and our city attorney and the EDA. We think that this is something that we really is important to offer our small business here in town because of just how everyone's been impacted and all the unknowns. And you know, the maximum amount that we have set is $10,000, and there's been a lot of questions and discussion over that. But I think we feel that's something that will be, you know, a great help because obviously, you know, these businesses that have been forced to close and just forced to change the way they do things, it's just, you know, we feel it's the responsible thing to do to help, you know, give that money, as much of it back to the small businesses as they employ people, and that's just kind of how we feel is appropriate use of those funds. So I'll let Scott get into the nitty-gritty details here, and I'll go take a seat.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. So as Councilmember Thorson mentioned, we've got the grant program that we put together. There's a short window of opportunity for it. When we received the funds, City Council had allocated those funds entirely to our public safety fund to cover public safety payroll costs and things like that through this. And there's a reason for that, because any funds that are not spent by November 15th have to be reallocated out to a hospital within Ramsey County area. And obviously we have the need for the funds locally here in a multitude of areas, but initially on we allocated all of them to our public safety finances for that. But what our intention is now is to reallocate some of those funds back out of that to put out to business grants. We've got other funding that we're also doing internally with city operations that will benefit the residents and businesses in the community, and that's doing upgrades on a lot of our website update, a lot of our other financial programs and software programs that will, coming soon, businesses, residents throughout the city will be able to access utility billing, those functions to an online web-based process that's at all possible. So we're doing a lot of update with that work. With this grant program, though, again, as I mentioned, it has to be completed by November 15th. So there's going to be a quick turnaround with this. We've got, I've got the documents here that I'll pass out today. Our intention is to mail these out today to all the businesses in North St. Paul. We want to get the word out to everybody as quickly as we can. It'll be on our website. There'll be form fillable documents on there that you can access. So we're going to make sure that this gets out quickly and out to everybody. So help us spread the word. If you have any questions, feel free to call. I've got a contact number in here to give us a call so we can try to work through it. So the timeline for this will be, we'll get the applications, like I say, out today. And the deadline will be for submitting them is October 30th by 4:30 p.m. on October 30th. We need everything in City Hall by that time. There's going to be a quick review process and turnaround to get through the end of that. October 30th will be the deadline. They'll be reviewed the week of November 4th or November 1st, excuse me, and then they will go. We're going to have a special council meeting on November 10th to actually do the final award. Council will make the final resolution on awarding those based on the review of the submittals that we received, and then funding will occur by the following Friday. By Friday the 13th to meet our deadline of November 15th. So it's going to be a quick turnaround, so I really encourage everybody that is in need of this and qualifies for this to fill it out. I can tell you that we've done basically everything we could to take out all of the bureaucratic nightmare out of this, taking out all the financial requests and all of that. It's a very simple application. Are you in business? Are you in business in North St. Paul by March 1st of 2020, and are you still an operating business today? That's basically in a nutshell, the requirements for it. Tell us how, what's your impact been. It's a very simple application, so get it sent in, and we'll process those. We're unsure of how many applications we're going to receive, so depending on, if we get a few applications and they meet the criteria, it's going to be up to council to set up. We don't have not determined a final funding amount, a maximum. But as Councilmember Thorson did mention, the maximum grant each would be $10,000, but we're not sure yet how many we're going to award, depending on how many applications we receive. Maybe that dollar amount will end up being smaller, that we can award them to all of them that apply. If we get an overabundance of awards or applications, and they all meet the criteria, then the other process that we'll fall back to is a lottery process to pull those out from the lottery to make the final award. So it just depends on how many applications we receive and what the needs are in our community. We know that previously Ramsey County had some of these programs out, and there was a fairly low turnout of businesses from North St. Paul, and unknown why that was. Maybe it's again as the application process, who knows, but our goal behind this was to make it very simple, very easy to submit and apply for the dollars. So, questions, anything from the group?
So if you've applied for a PPP or a deed or Ramsey County, you can still apply.
You can still apply for this. Okay. This grant does not prevent you from, okay. The only thing I would make sure is that those grants don't trip you up by this, but if you applied for other grants and received another grant, you're completely eligible to receive this funding.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that was one of our attorney had commented that the Ramsey County deed grants, there was a requirement in there that if you had already applied for any of those SBA grant loans, you couldn't apply for that.
For the SBA?
Yeah, and
right.
We certainly could have had that requirement as well, but we chose not to do that because of that.
And again, this is a grant. It's not a loan repayment. This is a grant. So once the funds are out, they're to be used for the business. It's not a repayment. So With that, unless anybody has questions, we'll get this information out today in all the different areas and mailed out, and hope to get applications back in. And we'll have, there'll be a review board made up of EDA members, a council member, staff. We'll put together kind of a committee to go through the applications, make sure they're accurate and complete, and follow the policy that we've created for that. And then again, the award process will follow that. So deadline October 30th, review the first week of November. Council to approve the recommended applications on November 10th, and funding on or by November 13th. Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.